censorship on social media, past and present. That's what I'm going to be discussing here today, live. So stick around for all of that and much, much more that's coming right. Live from Northern California, welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, the morning coffee edition. That's right, even though it is afternoon in every other part of the U.S., besides where I'm at, it's still morning here in the San Francisco Bay Area. The West Coast where I'm at. It's 11:08 a.m. Pacific time, 2:08 a.m. Eastern time. But first, if this is your first time here, and most importantly, you are open to suggestions and change, please consider subscribing and then banging that bell. So that way, you won't miss a single thing when it comes to getting a better grip on your life. That's right. I'm here to help each and every one of you get the best possible grips on your lives. So that way, each and every one of you can accomplish whatever it is that your hearts desire. So subscribe, bang the bell, select all notifications if you're here on the YouTube site. But once again, today, we are simulcasting live on Facebook, and I'm hoping that changing up the time of my usual stream time, which is typically more so in the evening, I'm hoping to get some more people from the Facebook side of things to engage today. We'll see how that goes. If not, no big deal. No big deal. But anyway, Mutt Nuts World's in the house. She says, hey, Eli and everyone. Hey, Mutt, how you doing? Mutt, how you like the background today? You got the elephant that's always complaining that they're being censored on social media. And then you've got the donkey. Well, the donkey's over here on the other side. The donkey's right over here. The donkey's over here. The elephant is over here with a big fat censored sign on it. Now, this is just a joke. We're just joking. Well, there's a lot of truth to it, and I'm not here to criticize or attack the right or anything, but this is what the right has been complaining about for many years now regarding, social media sites, basically just censoring them for what they like to call conservative speak. That's definitely not true. We'll get more into that in just a little bit. But first, let me make sure that the notification has gone out. The notification has gone out on the YouTube side of things. And let me just make sure the back end is rolling smoothly. Let's just check. Looks like it's rolling well. And let me see how things are going over on the Facebook side of things. Let me just check and make sure we're 100% before I dive right into this. I have a lot to go over with you folks here today. Let's see. Side of things. Let me just check and make sure we're 100% before I dive right into this. Okay, we're looking good. We are looking good. All right. One more thing before we get right to it. I can't forget to mention my amazing sponsor. I have a very amazing sponsor on this channel that sponsors every single video or live stream, and that is none other than the great Troy Brewer, who is the CEO, founder, and owner of the Discover Community Network. For all of your product and service needs from the most trusted professionals in the industry, please visit www.discovercommunitynetwork.com. One more time, that's www.discovercommunitynetwork.com. You can also visit a subsidiary of the Discover Community Network known as the DCN Internet Radio Network. When you go on that website, you're going to find a bunch of talk and music internet radio stations, and more than likely one of those talk or music internet radio stations, which is what I'm trying to say, will suit your talk or music genre needs. So if you like listening to talk or music throughout the course of your days, please consider visiting www.dcninternetradionetwork.com. One more time, that's www.dcninternetradionetwork.com. Both those links are below in the description on the YouTube side of things, about a third of the way down. And if you reach out to Troy, you go to those websites and you reach out to Troy by email or by phone, and you connect with them. Please do not fail to mention Coach Eli sends you with lots and lots and lots and lots of love. Lots of love over here in my neck of the woods. I've got an itch already. It's not on my nose, actually, but it's an itch. And all itches are good luck, right? Mutt Nuts World is here in the YouTube chat. She furthermore says, I am okay, just a little tired, been cleaning my room. Okay. And Mutt Nuts World says she loves the background. I'm sure some of those right-wingers that I wish would be my friend. I want to be friends with everyone. I'm not here to attack anyone, but I'm sure some of those right-wingers are going to not be too thrilled with this background. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. All right, everyone. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. I have a lot to go over today, so I'm just going to get right to it. Probably end up taking one break halfway through the show and then coming back with the second half. But let's start off with the title of the show. The title of the show is called My Thoughts Regarding Recent and Past Social Media Censorship. One more time. My thoughts regarding recent and past social media censorship. Okay. In light of, or in spite of recent events, including the current president of the United States, at least for the next week and a half or so, until he leaves office on January 20th, 2021. In spite of him being censored on social media, and many people from the, right, the conservatives, the right wingers, the alt-right, etc., anyone that identifies with the right, they're not too happy about that. And many of these people that create content, many of these right-wingers that create content on social media platforms, at one point or another, which is what I'm trying to say, have been removed or shadow banned or had something done to them to, stop whatever they're putting out there, to silence whatever they're putting out there. And a lot of these people think that they're being censored because they're conservative. And the fact that, most of these high-tech companies that run social media sites are actually here in the San Francisco Bay Area where I live. YouTube is literally 22 minutes north of where I live in San Bruno, California. Facebook is literally like 10 minutes south of where I'm at in Menlo Park. And I've actually been to the Facebook campus several times. If you live nearby, they invite you to do some research studies on the latest versions of their apps, and they'll pay you $75 to $100 in a gift card just for showing up for 30 minutes and, testing out their, newest product, that they're adding to their app. So, a lot of these companies are here in the San Francisco Bay Area in California, and we've been known to be a blue state pretty much forever. We're very liberal out here. And so a lot of these conservatives think that these high-tech companies only want liberal speech on their platforms, and they're not open to conservative speech. That's the furthest thing from the truth. I'm going to get more into that as the show goes on. So that's just a little prelude I wanted to put in before we dive into it. But where do I start? Where do I start? Okay, the first thing I want to start off by just having a little fun here, because we can't make this entire show serious. We've got to have a little fun. Oh, wait, before I even get to that, I forgot to mention that shortly or a little while ago, I can't even get the words out today. There's so much going on. Gosh, I got to tell you, Trump is so good at stirring the pot up. There's always something to talk about. Like that song Bette Midler, saying decades ago, let's give him something to talk about, right? Let's give him something to talk about. Well, President Trump, you've been giving us a lot to talk about lately, even as recent as a few hours ago, where President Trump made an announcement that he will not be attending Joe Biden's inauguration. And it is the first time since, I believe I heard this on CNN, since the late 1800s, 1860s or 1870s, around there, since the last time a president did not show up to the incoming president's inauguration. And President Trump is only the fourth president in our history to not show up to the incoming president's inauguration. And again, it's been, over 120 or 130 years or so since the last time, a president didn't show up to the incoming president's inauguration. And then typically a few days after the inauguration, the current president would invite the incoming president, the president-elect, into the Oval Office to have, a briefing and a welcome conversation. And that is not going to be happening. And, a lot of people from the right will, say that, CNN is fake news and this and that, and we don't listen to anything that CNN says. But when CNN says that, he's being a sore loser and a crybaby, that's exactly what he is. He's being a sore loser and a crybaby, and very, very unprofessional. And I have to ask you folks on the right, with no disrespect, do you not want your commander-in-chief, your president, to be professional? Do you not want a professional president? Seriously, this is absolutely the most unprofessional president that I've ever seen in our history. It's just absolutely ridiculous what this guy continues to do. And I can't stop talking about it because I got to let it out. I feel like I want to talk about it. I feel like I want to talk about it and hear your thoughts about it as well. Mutt-Nuts World in the chat says, here listening, but also on the phone with family. No worries, Mutt. No worries. Let me check out the Facebook side of things. Nothing going on over there. Nothing else going on YouTube. So that is that. Trump will not be showing up to Biden's inauguration. Go figure. This is after yesterday, where Trump was saying, okay, in spite of what happened on Capitol Hill the day before, I'm going to ensure a peaceful transition, in the White House. Okay, so that's what Trump says yesterday. And today, he says he will not be showing up to Joe Biden's inauguration. Very hypocritical, right? Very hypocritical. So how in the world are you going to live up to the words you said, Donald, when you said you're going to make sure, you're going to ensure it's a peaceful transition, when now the next day after you said that, you're not going to show up to Biden's inauguration? You're contradicting yourself, man. Because you see, by you not doing that, you're eating your words that you said yesterday. And you're also going to be fueling more hate and negativity. And hopefully it's not going to cause any more issues, in the ways the issues happened on Capitol Hill the other day. I'm just saddened. I'm really saddened by this, folks. I'm really saddened by the behavior of, President Donald J. Trump. And yeah, they've even talking about, trying to invoke the 25th Amendment and having him impeached. I would support that completely. Yeah, he needs to go. He needs to go. This has nothing to do with me being slightly on the left. If I was on the right, if I was even a far right extremist, I would still be saying this guy needs to go. This guy is not only bad for the left, he's bad for the right. That's just my opinion. It's my opinion. But anyway, let's get right to it here because we have so much to talk about. The first thing I'm going to do is something a little bit fun here, like I said a second ago, before I realized I wanted to talk about, the latest thing happening with Trump. So now I'm going to get into what I was going to get into. this background here today, if I turn off the chat for a second, and then I just move out of the way, it's the elephant and the donkey, right? It's the elephant and the donkey. But I added the censored sign over here where the elephant is at, because the elephant represents the Republicans, and then the donkey, well, sorry, it's over here. It's over here. I'm looking at a green screen when I do that, folks, so I don't always get it right. The donkey over here represents the Democrats, right? Now, many of you that are history buffs and love history know the story of the elephant and the donkey, but many people don't. So I'm going to share with you folks very briefly the story of the elephant and the donkey and how that came about. So let me go ahead and turn on the chat again. And let me switch over to the browser screen. And this is an article from the History Channel website. I'll be sharing all of these links in the description section on the YouTube side of things once this show ends. But let's just get right to it here. How the Republican and Democratic parties got their animal symbols. Why the elephant and the donkey? Written by Elizabeth Nix. The Democratic Party's donkey and the Republican Party's elephant have been on the political scene since the 19th century. The origins of the Democratic donkey can be traced to the 1928 presidential campaign of Andrew Jackson. During that race, opponents of Jackson called him a jackass. Okay, YouTube, don't demonetize me for that, because this is, within the right context, right? You've demonetized my last two videos, YouTube, but when I send them in for manual review, you overturned them. Thank you so much for that. We'll get to that in a second. I got more coming in a second. Let's continue here. However, rather than rejecting the label, Jackson, a hero of the War of 1812, who later served in the U.S. House of Representatives and U.S. Senate, was amused by it and included an image of the animal in his campaign poster. So he was having fun. He was having fun. Trying not to take things too seriously. Trying to, keep things on the lighter side. Yes, sometimes, you gotta, enforce things and sometimes crazy things happen in our country. But, in between, you gotta have some fun, right? And that's what he was doing. This is great. This is great, right? Jackson went on to defeat incumbent John Quincy Adams and served as America's first Democratic president. In the 1870s, influential political cartoonist Thomas Nast helped popularize the donkey as a symbol for the entire Democratic Party. It's very, very interesting. Obviously, I've heard this story before, and many of you have, but there are a lot of people that haven't. It's a very interesting story, right? The elephant and the donkey. Anyway, a lot of people from the right are probably going to come out and say, well, Eli, you are a JA. I'll say the initials. I guess you are really liberal and you are a Democrat, Eli, because, you are the donkey. You are the JA. You are a JA, right? All right. Anyway. The Republican Party was formed in 1854, and 6 years later, Abraham Lincoln became its first member elected to the White House. An image of an elephant was featured as a Republican symbol in at least one political cartoon and a newspaper illustration during the Civil War. When seen, the elephant was an expression used by soldiers to mean experiencing combat, but the psychoderm didn't start to take hold as a GOP symbol until Thomas Nast, who's considered the father of the modern political cartoon, used it in an 1874 Harper's Weekly cartoon. So basically, this was just some cartoonist back then, having fun with the political side of things. Just some entertainment there. Lots of crazy things, have happened in our world, and to, keep things on the lighter side and keep people, grounded. There's nothing wrong with a little humor, right? Nothing wrong with a little humor every now and then, right? Very tasteful humor, too. Titled The Third term panic, Ness drawing mocked the New York Herald, which had been critical of President Ulysses Grant's rumored bid for a third term and portrayed various interest groups as animals, including an elephant labeled the Republican vote, which was shown standing at the edge of a pit. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Nast employed the elephant to represent Republicans in additional cartoons during the 1870s, and by 1880, other cartoonists were using the creature to symbolize the party. And yeah, so they were having fun with it. It was just a fun way to express yourself or express politics back in those days, and it's still a part of our thing that we use today. We're still known as elephants and donkeys, right? Anyway, along with the donkey and elephant, the German-born Nast is associated with another political animal, the ferocious Tammany tiger, which the crusading artist famously featured in an 1871 Harper's Weekly cartoon that attacked New York's William Boss Tweed and Tammany Hall, his corrupt political machine. Okay, that's very interesting. Now, not all of Nast's work was about politics, though. He's also credited with creating the modern image of Santa Claus, and that's the history of how the elephant and donkey came about. Interesting. All right, so let me come back to full screen for a second here. And I'm going to go over one more thing here, then take a break. And then when I come back, I've got a couple of, actually, I've got one article I'm going to go over. I'm going to be discussing, most Americans think social media sites censor political viewpoints. It's a very interesting article from pewresearch.org. Most of you know about Pew Research. This is a very interesting article that was recently written middle of last year, August 19, 2020. But before we get to that, I want to start off by reading a community posting from another content creator regarding this topic. And I'm not going to mention who it is. He's somebody that I've dealt with in the past. He's going to know who, he's going to know it's him. And same with his supporters. And this is a guy that I went back and forth with in the past for like over 3 years between a former YouTube channel I used to run and this channel now. And, we basically, at the beginning, well, not the beginning of last year, but towards the middle of last year or so, maybe a little bit before that, we kind of just started ignoring each other and we moved on. We had a pretty big, long time YouTube beef, because he's more on the right and I'm more on the left. And he's just a very, very, let's just put it this way, descriptive content creator with the words he chooses to use. And, he's also one of those, he's a Trump supporter. And I guess he claims himself to be more libertarian. I think he's more on the alt-right. I don't think he's a regular Republican. I think he's more on the alt-right. The way that he behaves, the choice of words he uses, the racial slurs he uses, etc., inappropriate, language and stuff like that. I believe him to be more so on the alt-right, the alternative right. And he's one that's had many YouTube channels shut down. He's been a part of the YouTube partner program on many channels. He's been removed from the YouTube partner program several times. I don't know how he keeps on getting back in, because once you're removed from the YouTube partner program, they don't ever allow you to come back in. So he's probably, having, whatever girlfriend he's with, sign up for it under her name, and then she just pays him the money. I don't know how he does it. But anyway, he put out a community posting. I'm not going to put it out on the screen, but I am going to read what it says here. And it says YouTube and other social media has now said they will remove any videos supporting or friendly towards the events yesterday. That's not true, sir. I'm going to prove that to you in a second. So we can't talk about the COOF. What do you mean, the pandemic? The coronavirus? You're allowed to talk about it. See, you folks don't pay attention. YouTube, several months ago, is stopped demonetizing coronavirus, COVID-19, the pandemic. And they said, as long as you talk about it responsibly and don't share information that is not true or has been, proven to be true, you're okay. As far as the, Capitol Hill incident, nothing wrong with talking about it as long as you state the facts and you do it maturely, professionally, and responsibly. We can't talk about the election. I talk about it all the time. I'm fully monetized. I'll show you in a second. This guy's lying to you. He's completely lying to you. We can't talk about the election, and now we can't even speak of yesterday's events. Of course we can. I'm going to show you in a second. 1984. Come on, man. Thought police are here. I have backed up all my content, and I am considering moving my archive library over to Rumble and BitChute and only keep my new material for each month here on the channel. Thoughts? Dude, you're trying to stir up your audience. You know everything you just wrote there is complete garbage. You're lying. You're lying. I'm going to prove it to you. You know how I'm going to prove it to you? I'm going to show you my last 50 or so videos, my last 50 or so live streams, because I've done more live streams than pre-recorded videos, and then my last 10 pre-recorded videos. I'm going to show you my last 60 videos between streams and between pre-recorded videos. I'm going to show you my back end right now, not just to you, sir, to everybody. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and switch back over to the browser screen. And there's my back end. Now, as you can see, you see it says live replay right there where I'm hovering, right? And there's my stream from yesterday. On the thumbnail, it says Trump has lost his marbles. And then we are about to return to normal, my opinion, on January 20th, 2021. Look over here on the monetization side. Green, 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 green. Do you see all the green there? You can see that, right? You can see all the green right there, right? Look over there, right? I'm going to scroll down, not too quickly, but, not too slowly either, so you can see my last 50 live streams. Pay attention to the monetization section. Take a look at that. Green, 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 on, green, 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 green. Oh, beautiful green. Green. I know you don't care about monetization, sir, but that's okay. That's not the point I'm trying to make. Look at all that green. Now, let's go over and let's go just one more page because we don't have all day to go through everything. Okay. So let's go here. Let's go another 30 here. Look over here on the monetization section. You can see it. Okay, let's just keep scrolling down. Green, green. Look at all that green, 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 green. No yellow, huh? Wonder why. We'll get to that in a second. All green. Monetization on. Okay? Now, let's just go over to the upload section right up here and show you my last 10 uploads because I haven't uploaded a lot of pre-recorded videos between 2019 and 2020. I more so stream. I pretty much, when I stream, I do my live streams in a similar way as I would do them pre-recorded. But I like having that audience around to engage with them as well. But let's go to the uploads. And let's just show you folks here the last 10. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I just showed you my last 60 videos, all fully monetized. Now, the video, let's go back to the live section. And the top part here is going to show you, well, okay, give me a second here. Let me go back to the previous. Oh, I already got demonetized on this video. I guess we're going to have to submit it for manual review live on the air. It's all right. We just submitted it for manual review while we're live on the air. That's all right. My last 3 videos have gotten demonetized where I've talked about politics, but they've been reverted to green. And let me just show you here. Let me show you here the email for the last one I got. I'm going to turn off the chat for a second. And it says, your video is suitable for all advertisers. Trump's mental stability question, Twitter account suspended, riots at Capitol Hill, and much more. Sir, I talked about Capitol Hill. I talked about Trump's mental stability question. I talked about his Twitter account being suspended. And right here, what does YouTube say? Hi, Grip on Life. Great news. After manually reviewing your video, we've determined that it is suitable for all advertisers. Right there, Trump's mental stability question, Twitter account suspended, riots at Capitol Hill, and much more. Sincerely, the YouTube team. Sir, a human reviewer reviewed this video and the previous one that I did discussing politics, and they reviewed it and they reverted it back to green. Now, what I think YouTube is doing right now is they're being very cautious with anyone that, talks about politics. But, if you get demonetized and you submit it for manual review and you actually, are a reasonable content creator, you speak within reason, you don't use a lot of foul language, you don't use any words to attack people, you don't use any racial slurs, you don't, use any inappropriate, type of language or content, you don't say anything that is hateful and inappropriate, which is what I'm trying to say. They're not going, or also if you don't state something that, isn't true, they're going to remonetize your video. That's what they're looking for. They're looking to see how professional are you when you, talk about politics or whatever you talk about. How mature are you? Okay? They're going to look at the type of creator you are. They're going to look at, if you're doing a live stream, the type of audience you have. They're going to look at what comes out of your mouth. They're going to look at all of that. They're looking to see how professional of a YouTuber you are. Especially if you're in the YouTube partner program, such as this other guy is a part of the YouTube partner program. And he says he doesn't care about, about ad revenue. If you don't care about ad revenue, sir, then why are you in the partner program? If you don't care about that, and if you don't care about super chats and you get money in other ways, why are you in the partner program? Sir, it's ridiculous for you to say you don't care about ad revenue, which is the main reason to be a part of the YouTube partner program. If you don't care about ad revenue, then why don't you shut down your AdSense account and remove yourself from the YouTube partner program? There's an option for you to do that. But some people will just say anything just to get a reaction from people, and that's what I think he's doing. But I just basically debunked his entire posting where, he says that we can't talk about this and that. And sir, I've been talking about everything. It depends on how you talk about it. Are you talking about it professionally and maturely, and are you stating the facts and sticking to the facts, or are you throwing in a bunch of mumbo jumbo? Are you throwing in racial slurs? Are you throwing hateful and discriminatory and inappropriate content, sir? If that's the case, you're going to get at least demonetized, but more than likely get a community guideline strike for that. And 3 of those and you're out, right? Sir, I just don't think you're being truthful with your audience. And I'm not even trying to criticize you. I'm just making a statement because a lot of other right-wing content creators are saying the same things that you're saying. The truth of the matter is that you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. It just depends on how you present the material. That's the bottom line. I've been saying that for the last 4 years, and I'm saying that here today. All right, so let me go ahead and switch back to full screen. We are at 36 minutes. So what I'm going to do is cue up some royalty-free YouTube music and step away for a 5 to 7 or 8 minute break. And when I get back, I'm going to go over this article from pewresearch.org. Most Americans think social media sites censor political viewpoints. It's very much in alignment with what I believe. I'm going to be dissecting it line by line. It's probably going to take me about 30 to 40 minutes to go through it, and then we're going to wrap it up and call it a day. I was thinking about coming back and doing a second stream tonight, but I'm probably just going to take the rest of the day off and let this one ride. So give me just a second to cue up that music. Do-do-do-do. Give me a second here. All right. All right. What else do I want to play? Just need one more. All right, folks, going to step away for a 5 to 7 or 8 minute break. Like I said, when we return, we're going to get right to the actual topic. Well, we've been discussing the topic. I just kind of discussed it by reading that community post from another creator. We're going to be discussing the blog from pewresearch.org. Most Americans think social media sites censor political viewpoints. So stick around. We'll be right back. Is Mutt going to say welcome back? Woo! I feel good. Do you feel good? I feel good because it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Welcome back, says Mutt. Welcome back. Has been happening in our nation here in the U.S. lately. So much has been happening in the world. This is a crazy time, folks. This is unlike anything we've ever seen, and it's going to be really interesting to see what's going to happen when the change of power happens in office in about a week and a half or so on January 20th, 2021. Anyway, let me simmer down a bit because I've got another great part of the show to share with you folks here. It's going to be really interesting. I'll be sharing my thoughts about social media censorship. Let's lower the music. Yeah, lower the music. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Welcome back to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. This is the morning coffee edition. It's still morning here. It's 11:55 a.m. Pacific time. It is 2:55 p.m. Eastern time. Welcome back also to the people that are watching the simulcast live on Facebook. How are you folks all doing on Facebook today? No comments on Facebook. Where is everybody on Facebook? What's going on here? Do people not like Eli? Is that the thing? I mean, so many options, on who to tune into nowadays that, yeah, it's a challenge to build the right audience. But hey, I'm one that keeps moving forward. I've got something to say. I've got many great ways of helping people, and I just keep pushing through it. I keep pushing forward, and you should as well. The topic of tonight's, I'm used to doing these streams in the evening. The topic of today's stream is, let me just get to it here, my thoughts regarding recent and past social media censorship. One more time. My thoughts regarding recent and past social media censorship. If you missed the first part of the show, you're going to want to go back and check it out. I shared some commentary regarding what another creator mentioned, things that supposedly he's dealing with, complaining about, saying that, YouTube is censoring people from talking about current events. And that's something I debunked. That is definitely not true. So go back, check out the replay to hear what I said, my response to that, and what you can do if you do want to talk about current political events without being demonetized and without being removed. There's a right and a wrong way to do it, and that's what these people from the right don't seem to understand. Like, I don't hate anybody. I don't hate anybody from the right. I love everyone. I just really wish that the people on the right would just get a grip on their emotions. If you get a grip on your emotions, you're going to be able to say the same thing using different words that are not hateful, words that don't incite violence, words that don't, involve racism and stuff like that. You can share your thoughts in a very reasonable and professional way, and you will not get removed. And if your stream or your video gets demonetized because, the artificial intelligence doesn't always know the right context. They just see the words that you put, on your titles, descriptions, and tags. And those are trigger words that will automatically demonetize a video. But you submit it for manual review, and a human reviewer will see it, and they'll say, hey, this guy's just sharing his thoughts about what happened in a professional and proper way. and in a very reasonable way. He's not sharing anything that isn't true. He's just sharing how he feels about it, by, not using any hateful vocabulary, not inciting any hate, not using any racial slurs or anything like that. And there's minimal to zero profanity. And that's all it takes. I really wish the people on the right would understand that that is all it takes. And you wouldn't have to fear being removed from this platform. But anyway, let's get to this this article here. I'm going to, now I got an itch close to my nose, itch for good luck. Let's get to this article here. And it is titled, Most Americans Think Social Media Sites Censor Political Viewpoints. This was written August 19th, 2020. So about 6 months ago or so. And it says, interestingly enough at the top, Republicans are far more likely than Democrats to say major tech companies favor the views of liberals over conservatives. No, that's not true. I talk about the same exact things that you folks talk about. The difference is I present it differently. I may even agree with you folks on some things or disagree, but even if I agree with you folks, like I said a second ago, I present my material maturely, professionally, and reasonably. That's it. That's all it takes. So it is definitely not true that social media companies favor liberal speak per se, or over conservative speak. And I don't even like to look at it in that way. I like to look at it as an opinion from another human being. We're human beings. We're Americans, right? At the same time, partisans differ on whether social media companies should flag inaccurate information on their platforms. I think they should. If something is inaccurate, why not fact check it, right? President Trump has been fact checked more than anyone. And that's pretty sad because he's the president. He should know better than anyone, right? Americans have complicated feelings about their relationship with big technology companies. While they have appreciated the impact of technology over recent decades and rely on these companies' products to communicate, shop, and get news, many have also grown critical of the industry and have expressed concerns about the executives who run them. Well, just like what Mark Zuckerberg did regarding the situation with Trump a few days ago, suspending his, Facebook accounts indefinitely. It was the right thing to do, in my opinion, because, he wants to keep his platform a safe place. He wants to keep his platform, with no hate, with no incitement of violence, with no racism. Why do we need that? Why do we need that on any social media platform? And a lot of these right-wingers will come out and say, well, you're violating my First Amendment rights. You're violating my freedom of speech, right? And I've said this all along. I'll say it again. Freedom of speech does not give you the right to attack someone, does not give you the right to incite hate on someone, to use racial slurs on someone, okay? Doesn't give you the right to gang up and cyberbully and harass someone. It does not give you those rights. What freedom of speech allows you to do is share your thoughts about something in a mature and professional way. The liberals, more so, I'm not saying all liberals are perfect at this, but more so the liberals are able to share their opinions within the guidelines. And even if the guidelines didn't exist, most liberals, like to handle themselves professionally and maturely. What I've noticed from the right is that these people have the shotgun approach. They run off their emotions 24/7 and they shoot from the hip, right? And sometimes when you shoot from the hip, you get angry and triggered and you say the same thing with different words. Those are key words that, these social media sites don't want. And quite frankly, social media or not, I wouldn't want to hear these words if I was hanging around with you in person. If I was hanging around with somebody that behaved in the way a lot of these right-wingers behave on social media, I wouldn't want to be around them. This goes beyond social media. These people feel their freedom of speech gives them the right to incite hate, violence, to use racial slurs, etc. It does not. So I support everything that these high-tech companies have done to silence people, whether they're on the left or the right or down the middle or whatever their views are. I support them, to silence the hate, to silence the incitement of violence, the racism, the discrimination, the cyberbullying, the harassment. Why would you want to live your life in that way anyway? Come on. Come on. A lot of this comes from grown adults in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. Like a lot of these people that are complaining they're getting booted off of these, social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, etc., are grown adults. Even our youth is not as bad as most of these people. It's pathetic to me. It is. This has become a particularly pointed issue in politics, with critics accusing tech firms of political bias and stifling open discussion. That's not true. That's not true. I talk about the same things that you folks do, but I present the material more professionally, maturely, and reasonably. And I do not state certain things as facts that are not facts. I do my research. I watch the news. I watch CNN. I watch Fox sometimes, even, believe it or not. And I read lots of articles online on my smartphone or on my laptop. Amid these concerns, a Pew Research Center survey conducted in June finds that roughly 3/4 of U.S. adults say it is very 37% or somewhat 36% likely that social media sites intentionally censor political viewpoints that they find objectionable. They censor things, like I just said, that are number one, A, inappropriate, hateful, discriminatory content, racial content, or things that have been proven to not be true. A lot of these people on the right, they don't want to agree to certain things that have been proven true because they wish it could have gone the other way. For example, they don't want to understand and accept the fact that Joe Biden beat out Donald Trump by a mile. A lot of them are still, trying to say there was widespread voter fraud, which there has not been any widespread voter fraud at all. None. It has been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt, beyond a reasonable doubt, that Joe Biden won the election. Yet there are people coming out and saying that there was widespread voter fraud, which, once again, like I've been saying all along, there hasn't been any. There isn't any. These social media platforms are getting tired of people wasting their server space, and especially on YouTube with video bandwidth, talking about this stuff. It's just ridiculous. So I don't blame them for censoring it or for creating rules around it. Move on, get over it. You're grown adults and you're behaving like little kids. You're grown adults behaving like little kids because a lot of people on the right, no disrespect, this is just what I see. A lot of people on the right just do not like to lose. They're sore losers. And I've mentioned this on past streams in the past. When I was younger, I used to be a sore loser. And when I realized how horrible it made me look in front of my friends and other people, I realized that if I lose something, the best thing to do is to accept it and to, say good game to the other person. Hey, we'll get you next time. But hey, great job, man. You did a great job. Great job, gal. You beat me. You beat me. You had a better day than I did. Congratulations, right? That's the mature thing, the mature way to handle it. But these people on the right just can never accept anything that doesn't go their way. It's ridiculous. It really is. Just 25% believe this is not likely the case. Well, I'm one of those 25%ers because it makes logical sense to me based on what I just said. Let's move on. Before we move on, let me just check out the chat on the YouTube side of things. Oh, I don't even have the chat up. Oh, there we go. There we go. Sorry, I had the chat turned off from earlier. It's back up now. Looks like we have Lewis Fuller in the house. Lewis Fuller says, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Lewis. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today, bro? You like the background? Well, you can't see the background, but I'll switch back to full screen for a second, Lewis. Lewis, you like the background? Oh, man. What do you think about that, Lewis? All right. Let's get back to it here. Let's see. Muttnuts World says, hey, Lewis. And Lewis says, hey, hi, Muttnuts World. Let me check out the Facebook side. Nothing happening on Facebook. All right. Let's get right back to it here. Yes, it is amazing, says Lewis. Lewis loves the background. Give me a second here. All right. Majorities in both major parties believe censorship is likely occurring, but this belief is especially common and growing among Republicans. Yeah, because I hate to say it, a lot of these people, it's not all Republicans. Look, I live in California. I've mentioned this before. I'll say it again. I live in California, and I have a lot of Republican friends. I have a lot of friends from the right, and they're good, decent people. Do we agree on everything? No. We disagree on a lot. We agree on some. At the end of the day, we can have a reasonable conversation and still be friends, right? But even these people here in California that are Republican and have a friendship with them, okay, even they know what's right and what's wrong. Even they can say, hey, you know what? It sucks that Trump lost, but, Biden won fair and square. It's the bottom line. It's the bottom line. Give me a second here. And a lot of these, right-wingers, like I've said, and this is with no disrespect, I'm just stating the facts. I love everybody, including these people. Even though they don't love me, I love them. But a lot of these people are from the South and the Midwest. They're lower class people. A lot of them are uneducated. A lot of them came from a broken family, broken household. They've had a rough life. And I'm not saying this to be critical or to criticize them or to attack them. I'm not. I'm stating the facts. I feel bad for these people, right? But because of that, a lot of these people were never disciplined. And they've had to fight for everything. So when one little thing doesn't go their way, they get angry and they don't handle it maturely. And that's what's happening here, folks. That's why you get a lot more people on the right to act up in this way because of their upbringing. I'm not saying all people from the right are like that, but a lot of them are. And the funny thing is, you're going to hear, I think it was in this article here. I know I read it somewhere. I think it was in this article. If not, it was another article that said the majority of people online are right-wingers. And they're the right-wingers that I was just talking about. The ones that, are the lower class, et cetera, yada, yada, yada. So that's why, in my opinion, this is what, the stigma is regarding Republicans are feeling they're being silenced by social media, which is not true. It's not true at all. 9 in 10 Republicans and independents who lean towards the Republican Party say it is at least somewhat likely that social media platforms censor political viewpoints they find objectionable. I read that. Up slightly from 85% in 2018 when the center last asked this question. Okay, well, they're being censored for violating the guidelines. They're being censored for saying things are facts that are not facts. That's why they're being censored. If I were to do that, I'd be censored too, and I'm slightly on the left. It doesn't matter whether you're left or right. It matters how you handle yourself. A lot of these right-wingers, like I've been talking about, especially the ones that are, active on social media, okay, they don't follow the guidelines. They think freedom of speech includes hate speech and vulgar language and racism and all that, right? Maybe in your own home, but not in my home and not on social media. You don't own YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You don't own those companies. They're privately owned companies, and they make their own rules. And if you don't like the rules, you can leave before they throw you out for violating the rules. It's as simple as that. If I violate the rules, I'll be removed myself. Has nothing to do with being on the right at all. At the same time, the idea that major technology companies back liberal views over conservative ones is far more widespread among Republicans. No kidding. Today, 69% of Republicans and Republican leaners say major technology companies generally support the views of liberals over conservatives, compared with 25% of Democrats and Democratic leaners. Again, these sentiments among Republicans have risen slightly over the past 2 years. This is coming from this group of Republicans. Not all Republicans think this way. The Republicans that think this way are people on the alt-right or the extremists that are primarily in the Midwest and the South. They are people that are lower class, with no disrespect. These are just facts. They're lower class people, uneducated people. They're blue collar workers, which is fine, not a big deal. They came from broken households, and they didn't have the best upbringing, and they've struggled to survive. And I feel for them, like I said, but those are the people that are coming out and making these numbers. If you throw in the other Republicans that are not like these people I've been talking about, then you'd probably get a different story. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion. I'm entitled to it. It's my opinion. Give me a second here. Debates about censorship grew earlier this summer following Twitter's decision to label tweets from President Donald Trump as misleading, because they were. They were completely misleading. That's a fact. I'm not saying that because I'm slightly on the left. That's a fact. They were misleading. This prompted some of the president's supporters to charge that these platforms are censoring conservative voices. Well, they were saying that before that. But, when it started happening to the president, because the president started to behave like these other people had been behaving all along that support him, that just basically gave this group of right-wingers more fuel, right? Because now they had the backing of President Trump. So what did Trump do? He got butthurt. What happened? What did Trump try to do? He tried to rewrite Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which gives social media companies protection from lawsuits. And that way they're able to run their companies and manage their companies and get rid of hate and inappropriate content and misleading content without being sued. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing wrong with that. Why would you want a platform full of hate and violence that's incited and inappropriate content and racism and all that? Why would you want that? Why, as a human being, would you want to live your life that way, even outside of social media? Why? You tell me why. It doesn't make you a good person. It doesn't make you a happy person. Maybe these social media sites are tired of miserable people projecting their insecurities and their misery on the platform that they're trying to keep positive and happy and fun and normal. This survey finds that The public is fairly split on whether social media companies should engage in this kind of fact-checking, but there is little public confidence that these platforms could determine which content should be flagged. Well, here's the thing, especially on YouTube, there's 500 hours of videos uploaded every minute. It's very hard to manage this platform, and I think they're doing the best they can. Do they always get it right? No. But the content that they do remove needed to be removed. And if they remove content by mistake, you can appeal it, and more than likely they'll overturn it. I've dealt with many of these, these Republicans, these right-wingers on YouTube, and I've seen many of their videos go down, and they whine and complain. And, I had a chance to view their videos before they were taken down. And I'm like, I'm surprised it took YouTube that long to take it down. They should have taken it down sooner. Partisanship is a key factor in views about the issue. Fully 73% of Democrats say they strongly or somewhat approve of social media companies labeling posts on their platforms from elected officials as inaccurate or misleading. If it's not true, it's not true. If it's not true, it's not true. Now, if you're somebody that wants to talk about conspiracy theories, then you got to say, hey, look, this is my opinion. This is my conspiracy theory. I'm not saying this is a fact, but this is what I feel is going on. This is my opinion. If you say, hey, look, this is my opinion, it's been said publicly that this is a fact, but you know what? I disagree with it. Here's my conspiracy theory. This is just my opinion. You see how you word it? If you try to come out and sound like an authoritative figure like Fox or CNN and say that this is a fact, but it's been proven by everyone else that it is not true. Why would you want that to be on a social media platform? Why would you want to see stuff like that on a social media platform? Do you folks that are complaining you're being removed or silenced want to see other creators put things out that are not true and claim that they are? Are you going to say it's a part of their freedom of speech to be liars or to put out, false statements, especially about important things regarding our democracy and the election and all that? Come on. You got to be a little more responsible and mature than that. On the other hand, 71% of Republicans say they at least somewhat disapprove of this practice. Republicans are also far more likely than Democrats to say they have no confidence at all that social media companies would be able to determine which posts on their platform should be labeled as inaccurate or misleading. 50% versus 11%. They're just butthurt. They're just hurt. They're just sore losers, is what it is. They're sore losers. Again, right-wingers are not being silenced. Left-wingers, the liberals, are not getting special privileges. It may appear that way. The truth of the matter is, most people on the left will not put something out there that's not true and say it is true. And we do not use hate speech, vulgar language, racism, and all that stuff. We don't. A lot of the people on the right do, and they say, as part of my freedom of speech, I should be allowed to say that. No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. These are among the key findings of a Pew Research Center survey of 4,708 U.S. adults conducted from June 16th through the 22nd, 2020, using the Center's American Trends poll. So you can see that. I'm going to share these links in the description so you can go check out these polls later. Let me see how much more we have to go here. I think we're getting towards the end. This is actually pretty long. So I'm not going to be going through the whole entire thing here. I'm going to go through one more section and let you folks read the rest, because I've pretty much stated what I wanted to state, regarding, is there censorship happening on social media? Well, yes, there is, but what's being censored needs to be censored because it's just not right. Guidelines are not. Terms of service are not. A lot of these things these people put out there are they're toxic things that I just don't want to see, or any good person would not want to see. So why would you guys want to put them out there in the first place? Put these things out there. Why? Views about whether social media companies should label posts on their platforms as inaccurate are sharply divided along political lines. Okay. It's about how you talk about what you're talking about, not what you're talking about. Now, there are some things, like the pandemic, YouTube put some restrictions on it early on because it was a very serious thing. So they more so leaned to their authoritative voices, CNN, Fox, the mainstream media, etc. Then they opened it up to everyone after a little while, and they said, look, no problem with you talking about it, but just make sure what you state is either true or you're stating an opinion. Don't try to come out and claim something is a fact when it's not and hasn't been proven to be a fact. Americans are divided over whether social media companies should label posts on their sites as inaccurate or misleading. They should. They should. It'll discourage people from putting out fake things, trying to make them appear like they're true in the first place. With most being skeptical that these sites can accurately determine what content should be flagged. Well, a lot of times, they're flagged and they're manually reviewed. So, I mean, yes, they all have their artificial intelligence that, may possibly, flag something as inappropriate or misleading or inaccurate. But then, hey, if that happens to you, you can request a manual review, right? Pretty simple. Let's see here. Some 51% of Americans say they strongly or somewhat approve of social media companies labeling posts from elected officials on their platforms as inaccurate or misleading, while a similar share, 46%, say they at least somewhat disapprove of this. Why? Why? Look, what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Why would we want to flood social media with a bunch of garbage that's not true? And then you folks are going to whine, well, it's my freedom of speech, whether you think it's true or not. I think it's true, and that's what matters most. No, if something's been proven to be true or not true, that's what matters. That's what matters. Again, going back to the election, Joe Biden won fair and square. There are people this day on the right that still say that there was fraud, and there was none at all. We're all tired of hearing that. Move on. It's time to move on. It's time to move forward. Okay? Hey, in 4 years, you folks will have another shot, and who knows? Who knows? Maybe Trump will run again if he's not arrested before that time, or not allowed to run based on what he's done. Right? Either that, or there'll be another Republican running against, Joe Biden. Joe Biden will be running for re-election. So why can't you folks do the same thing that us liberals did 4 years ago when Trump beat out Clinton? We weren't happy about that, but we said, hey, look, he won fair and square. That's that, right? Now, there was the Russian thing, right? But there was nowhere nearly as big of a deal made regarding that as Trump has made regarding this supposed voter fraud that never happened. Come on. Come on. Let's be real here. Democrats and Republicans hold contrasting views about the appropriateness of social media companies flagging inaccurate information on their platforms. Fully 73% of Democrats say they strongly or somewhat approve of social media companies labeling posts on their platforms from elected officials as inaccurate or misleading versus 25% who disapprove. So I'm not going to read any more of this. There are a lot of stats here. If you folks want to go check out, pewresearch.org, I'll share the link below in the description. And I'm going to now move back to full screen before I wrap this baby up. I'm just going to wrap up by saying this. We're all grown, mature adults. Why can't we behave that way? Why can't we all just get along? Sometimes we're going to win. Sometimes we're going to lose. When we win, we celebrate. That's great. When we lose, we take it with a grain of salt and we say, hey, congratulations, you won. Honestly, of course, I'm not happy that we didn't win. For example purposes here, obviously, I'm stating this. But you earned it. You won. Congratulations. If there's anything I can do to help, make it easier for you, make this transition easier for you, or make better whatever it is that person won, right? That they beat you at. Yeah, I'd be happy to help you. It's the mature thing to do. It's the adult thing to do. I think we all need to act our age, act like adults, and realize, which we should have already learned to realize this by now, especially most of us, that this is affecting in our 30s, 40s, and 50s. By the time you hit your 30s, at least your 40s, you should be a lot more mature and be able to handle these things, a lot more maturely and gracefully. So why can't we handle these things maturely? Why do we have to argue every little thing when we don't win? And here's the thing regarding the election. Is anyone really losing? Or is the right really losing anything? I don't think so. The right doesn't realize that you have a president coming into office now that's about unity and is going to help everyone, including you folks on the right. He's going to help you more so than this current president that's in there right now, that hasn't done a darn thing over the last 2 months since he lost the election. During a time where the position of commander-in-chief is more important than ever during this pandemic and other things happening. But like I've been mentioning on many of my shows lately, the guy would rather go golfing than take care of the country, yet you folks are okay with him going golfing every day instead of handling the pandemic. And more people are dying every day, and more are getting sick. We're having a hard time rolling out the promised amount of vaccines that he promised. Like, come on, what's it going to take for you folks to understand? Right? I think a lot of the right-wingers, they really are stuck on Trump because he's someone that at least they feel they can relate to based on how he talks to the people. See, Trump was born with a golden spoon. He's had money all along, right? But Trump basically made it his focus to win over the lower and lower middle class conservatives, especially the ones, where he won the states in the South and the Midwest. And he realized that those people, a lot of them came from nothing. They've struggled all their lives, and they're still struggling, right? So these people never felt like they had a voice before until Trump came into office and made it appear and made them believe like he really cared about them, when, folks, you got to realize he really, really doesn't care about you. This is just my opinion. If he cared about you and cared about the country, like I said, he wouldn't be going golfing every day. He would be taking care of the pandemic and getting on these companies and saying, hey, we had planned to have 20 million vaccines, to hospitals by now, to have 20 million people vaccinated by the end of the year, beginning of the new year. And we're nowhere near that number. Nowhere near that number at all. I understand why the people that are pro-Trump are pro-Trump. Folks, I understand why you're pro-Trump. Believe it or not, I do. You feel like your life depends on someone like him. Truth of the matter is, I can't even say it. Truth of the matter is, I say he doesn't care about you. He's done more harm to you than help you. The only thing you've gotten from Trump is somewhat of a voice that you never had before, or at least you thought you never had before. Everyone's always had a voice, though. Trump enables you, folks, to speak your mind, even if it includes hate speech and racism and all that. And that's what makes you folks really like the guy. But is that right? Is that the way you want to live your life? Do you want to live your life being a hateful person that attacks people because the color of their skin is different than yours? Because their sexual orientation is different? Because they're on welfare or something like that? Like, come on. Put yourself in the other people's shoes that you're attacking. Ask yourselves how you would feel if someone was coming at you in the same way you're coming at these people. See, Trump gave you folks the power to spew out your hate. And now you're losing that. It wasn't right in the first place. I'm telling you folks, Joe Biden is going to make a huge difference for all Americans. Democrats, Republicans, Independents, doesn't matter who you are. Mark my words, you're going to see amazing changes right out of the gate in 2021. And they're going to continue for the next 4 years. And everyone's going to be happy. In the meantime, I hope for a peaceful transition. I hope there isn't a repeat of what happened a couple of days ago at Capitol Hill around inauguration time. I have a feeling that, a lot of people are crazy. I have a feeling something's going to happen. I really hope it doesn't. I'll wrap up by saying this. The only bad part about silencing people that need to be silenced for violating guidelines and being inappropriate and stating things as facts that aren't, the only bad thing is it basically triggers them more. It it revs up their emotions more to the point of where they feel like they want to more so retaliate and, go out and riot and be destructive. It's sad. We've got grown, mature men in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that can't contain their emotions. They come out on social media to try to spew out that emotion, right? And then they get silenced, and then they get even more angry than they already were. Like I said, first they are angry within themselves because of their rough upbringing, right? They felt suppressed all their life or oppressed, right? Come on social media, they let that all out. It makes them feel better. Then they get removed for violating guidelines and being inappropriate, right? Then they get angry and then they take it in real life and start harming people in real life. This has to stop, folks. We're adults. We're grown adults. Especially you guys out there, you got to be a lot more stronger emotionally. Muttonut's World have to run. Take care, some family stuff. We'll catch you later. All right, Mutt, thank you for stopping by. We're about to wrap this up anyway. Folks, let's just move forward in a positive way with no violence and no hate. And I'll take a page out of, Trump's and people on the right. Let's make America great again. That being said, thank you to Lewis Fuller for being here. Thank you to Muttonut's World for being here. And thank you to everyone else who was watching behind the scenes on Facebook and on YouTube. I will not be back later tonight. I'm going to take the rest of the night off. And I may be back tomorrow over the weekend. If not, I'll be back on Monday. I'm not quite sure. I may be going hiking this weekend. It's still up in the air. But if you folks don't hear from me between now and Monday, just know everything's all good. I'll try to keep you updated through community posts on YouTube and Facebook posts as well. But don't worry if you don't hear from me. It's all good. With that being said, have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Bye. Bye.